Bharat is the oldest nation in the world. It is also the most enduring nation in the world. The entire universe is one being. That is the Bharatiya view. Atma Vidya, the self-knowledge, is the basis of all true knowledge and the supreme knowledge. And the vision that Bharat has, it's carrying the Atma Vidya. India Foundation is the Brand Bharat. I first want to thank Ram Madhav for inviting me. It is quite, as we say, more than an honor. And I have watched his work on every great work he's done in many fields, culminating in the India Foundation. And I would say this is the premier organization for dealing with knowledge, culture, all aspects that are relevant to India, Bharat, and the world today, whether it is economics, whether it is geopolitical, whether it is educational, whether it is spiritual, whether it is all that is happening in the world, and specifically all that is Bharat. And I would like to say that India Foundation is the Bharat today. India Foundation is the Brand Bharat. And India Foundation is carrying Brand Bharat to the world. And that is very essential today. Bharat, as we say, is a civilization, a culture, a land, a nation, but it is also a cosmic reality, we would also say. In fact, you can find this Bharatam Janam, the people, the land of Bharat, in the oldest Rig Vedic verses. And Bharat is the oldest nation in the world. It is also the most enduring nation in the world. And it is one that is not just there as a political entity or as boundaries. It's one that has a spiritual vision. And the vision that Bharat has, it's carrying the Atma Vidya, the knowledge of the true self, the Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of the cosmic reality, the supreme being, Satchidananda, for the benefit of all humanity and all creatures. It is not just simply a human country, and it's not simply a religious country, it is part of the cosmic reality. Bharat means carrying. And what does Bharat carry? Bharat carries Agni, but that Agni is the flame of consciousness, the flame of the Atma Vidya that dwells within each one of us, and that is also the supreme reality of the universe. Now, Bharat has always been a knowledge-based civilization, dharmic civilization, and it has recognized knowledge on all of its levels. Even in Upanishads, they also recognize the importance of architecture, art, music, medicine, mathematics, and science, every possible form of knowledge and culture. But they say that the Atma Vidya, the self-knowledge, is the basis of all true knowledge and the supreme knowledge. They say there's two types of knowledge. There is the lower knowledge by which name, form, and number is known. Then there is the higher knowledge by which the eternal, the infinite, the self, the immeasurable is known. And both forms of knowledge have been honored in Bharat, but it gives the higher place to that Atma Vidya. And Bharat is extremely important today because of the crisis going on in the world. Right now, the world is lacking in leadership. To a great extent, the world is lacking in diplomacy. We can certainly see that. Technology is growing, but technology, Yogananda wrote in a book some time ago, he said that the problem with the scientific age is that science is a two-edged sword, and it can be easily weaponized. And so, the very things that are helping us can also threaten us. And unless we have that Atma Vidya, or sense of the divine within all nature, all universe, and within each one of us, then we tend to get caught in the human ego. And what happens today now is that a small group of people can be given tremendous amount of power because of a very powerful technology. But really that technology should be used for the benefit of all. And we have to remember that the outer knowledge makes the outer world better, but unless we make our inner consciousness better, then the outer factors can limit us and bring us into conflict, difficulty, and also duality. Now, the Bharat, as a knowledge-based civilization, also is very much concerned with education, and this is a very important thing for us to understand. Education is not just the information that we are giving to the children, but are we teaching them how to learn? Are we teaching them how to learn for themselves, and how to know themselves, and how to connect to nature, all of life, and respect it? All life is sacred. Now, there is a lot of benefits with the technology. The technology has to go forward. And it's very interesting to note that today, India is the country that has the largest amount of high-tech scientists, specialists. We see them in Silicon Valley, in the United States. And yet, it remains the country that holds the Atma Vidya, the eternal transcendent knowledge, knowledge of the true self, the infinite, or also what we call the science of consciousness. You know, it's one thing to know outer things, very important, but if you don't have a science of consciousness, you do not know the essence of reality. It's very interesting. We go back to the Upanishads, which explain all the different forms of knowledge. And they make some fundamental questions. By what can the knower be known? Many of us practice yoga. You know, yoga is a great teaching, but yoga begins with, we need to, they say, chitta vritti nirodha. You need to calm, silence, and empty the mind so that you have the perception, or you go back to the state of the seer, the purusha, the drashta, the seeing, the knower. So they're asking questions. In fact, every question is asked, and the most important question is always, who am I? And for most of us, of course, we identify ourselves by the body, by the mind, by what we own, by where we live, by some name or form. But in the knowledge system of Bharat, we do that inquiry into the Atma, or the true self. Who are we? Who am I? What in me is able to transcend death? What is aware, even in the state of deep sleep? What transcends within us time, space, name, form, and number? In that regard, your consciousness is always there. But we look without, to the outside, and we forget the consciousness and the being that we are, and we get caught in the outer differences, which eventually end up in conflict and struggle. So Bharat is carrying that great Atmic knowledge, self-knowledge for humanity. The Greeks also asked the question, who am I? But they didn't quite understand the Atma. They were still caught, we might say, in simply the intellect. Now, in these India Ideas Conclaves, they often brought in Swami Dayananda Saraswati of Atma Vidya. He was one of our teachers as well. And he always raised these particular ideas for us. That is the Vedanta. And the Indian system of ethics is what we call the dharmic principles, not simply something man-made or from the outside. He used to say, you do not want to be harmed. No other living being wants to be harmed. So respecting the law and the consciousness of the universe, we do not harm anyone. It is not an imposition from the outside. Then, in this respect, in the Bharatiya tradition, the universe is not just something that you can look at scientifically. It is an art as well as a science. Nothing in nature is precisely mathematically correct. The day is not exactly 24 hours. The year is not exactly 360 days. There's this deeper creative dimension, and the entire universe is one being. That is the Bharatiya view. Oneself in all beings, and the universe as one conscious being and one family. And that is what we need today. We live in a universe that is one, but we forget and we end up struggling and fighting with each other. The Earth is such a beautiful planet. We should be happy just to be here, just to watch the sunrise, to look at the stars, to see the clouds, the rain. But what do? We fight and struggle with each other. We want more things than our neighbor has, and we forget that the true happiness and well-being is within. Now, another very important gift of Bharat to the world is the temple. And you can see there are many great temples. I came to you today from Varanasi, and we had been to Kashi Vishwanath and, of course, the different temples there. And prior to that, in Delhi, we went back to the Akshardham, the Swami Narayan temple. I had helped them when it was done 20 years ago with their boat ride down the Saraswati River. They recently have also built a temple in Abu Dhabi, and the royal family of Abu Dhabi attended all the rituals and participated in all the events going on. And they have just also completed a temple in the United States in New Jersey that's over 200 feet high, all hand-carved with the most exquisite sculpture in the high-quality stone, mainly marble, but other factors brought together as well. And in the Vedic view, the Bharat view, the universe creation arises from Ananda. It arises from what people translate as bliss, love, creativity. It's not something that is based upon negativity. That Ananda is also our true nature. So Bharat should be understood relative to the Vedanta, oneself in all beings, but also understand that there is a divine presence in every form, object, creature that reflects the universe as a whole. We're not worshiping one deity as opposed to another. We're recognized that the sacred divine presence is in all and should be shared with all. And also, you see, in the Bharatiya tradition, you have the most festivals. Navaratri, 9 days. Diwali goes on for some days and so forth, so that that whole nature of life should be worship, honoring, respecting, and honoring being part of the oneness. So I'm very happy to be at this important event. Please support the India Foundation, but also follow the India Foundation. And let us take this message of Bharat to the world, because Bharat is also all humanity. We are all part of that same self and being, and let us honor that socially, economically, politically. All the other problems will go away. Hari Om.